Hi all, welcome to your first training session. Today we'll be focused on editing and running predefined vehicles on any cycles, and we'll also cover how to import new drive cycles or customize the already available ones. You'll learn how to do this from the GUI or using MATLAB scripts. So we'll split this session into two parts, the GUI part and the MATLAB part. First, I want to start by showing you how to navigate the GUI and getting comfortable with all the workflows and tabs available in Amber. So after downloading Amber, you should be able to see the shortcut on your desktop. So double click it and it'll open Amber just the way I have it on my screen. There are three main tabs, the Workflows tab, the Amber tab, and then the Autonomy tab. So let's start with the Workflows tab. I'm going to click here to expand it, and you'll be able to see that I have run a vehicle, run many vehicles, edit a vehicle, edit and run a vehicle, edit a vehicle, and then analyze data. These are the 5 workflows that we will be using today. So I'm going to click on run a vehicle, for example. You'll see it'll open a new tab. I can go back to my workflows and open like edit vehicle, for example. So you see that I can open multiple workflows at once. But I'm going to close this for now and we'll get back to them. The next tab is the Amber tab. And in here you'll have the define units button, which I'm going to click. It'll pop up a window where you can define the units and the decimals you want to use. So for example, here in my angle, I have 4 decimals, but I want to use 2 instead. And I'm going to go down to, for example, power, and you'll see that systems is using watts, but the user is using kilowatts. So the system units, or this whole column that you're seeing, is the units used during simulation, which you can't modify. But if you were to load up that simulation data into the GUI, you'll see them in this user's units. So your power will be shown in kilowatts, but you could, for example, the linear speed, you could modify it to kilometers per hour, and then you can hit save, and those will be the units used throughout Amber. I'm going to cancel. Next, you have the button check for update, which I'm going to click to show you. In here, it'll immediately check for an update. And you also have this box that you can check or uncheck, which will automatically update your Amber every time you start up the application. You also have this email log file, which is really useful if you are encountering any errors. So if you go down here to messages, it's gonna pop up, and I'm gonna click here on the right side so that it stays open. And you'll see all these error messages. So I intentionally remove a file so that it will show me all these error messages. So if you were to encounter a similar error, you could email log file. So you click on here and it'll launch your Outlook. It'll automatically populate the Amber Help email, and it'll attach your log file. So I'm gonna open it and I'll show you what's in it. So if you go all the way to the bottom of the file, you'll see all the error messages that were shown in the GUI. So this is a useful and efficient way to communicate with the development team to show them what errors you are having. And I'm gonna hide this for now. You also have this help button, which will open up a PDF file, and in here I'm gonna scroll down real quick, but in here it'll show you all the tabs that we've just gone over. In case you have any other questions regarding how to use or what the other buttons or tabs do, it's just a useful resource to have in case you forget something. And lastly, you'll have this MATLAB setting. So I'm going to click on settings and it'll give me a list of the MATLABs that I have installed on my computer. So for example, my MATLAB Art 2020B is highlighted, which means that Amber is using this MATLAB, but I could select MATLAB Art 2019A, click OK, and then it'll give me another message saying we're going to make that change to your MATLAB, and I can click OK. So next time I click on settings, you'll see that my 2019A is the one that's highlighted, which means it's the one that's being used. But I actually prefer my 2020B. So I'm going to make that change again. The last tab is the Autonomy tab. And in here, you'll have your projects. So right now it says that my current project is the default. So if I scroll over, it'll show me a path. See Amber 2022 projects default. So I'm going to go to that folder. I already have it here, so I'm just going to go to there. So Amber 2022 projects default. In here, I'll have an A project file, a startup file, and then a few folders where, for example, here in results is where all the simulation results will be. The process, if I import a cycle, this is where those cycle files will be. And then I could save all my vehicles here in the systems. It's just an easy and compact way to keep the files for each project that you're working on. Especially when you are running multiple simulations, you want to know where those files are. I'm going to close. We can create a new project. So I'm going to hit new, and in here I'll have a name and a description. So I'm going to, for name, I'm going to put, for example, session 1, and it'll create a very similar or identical structure of folders and files like the one I just showed you for the default project. And in here in the description, I'm going to put first training session. So you always want to put a description and a name. You also can select what MATLAB you want to use. So you have the same the list of the 2 MATLABs that I have available in my PC. So I'm going to keep it to my 2020B. And also very important is the libraries that you have. So these are the 3 libraries that you always need: the Autonomy Commons, Autonomy Energy, and Autonomy Processes. But you can also add any other path where you have other files. So for example, I'm going to add this folder that I have here, see Amber session 1. And so when I load my Amber, either through the GUI or through MATLAB, I'll be able to have access to all these files, all these folders, and all the subfolders and files that are in there. So I'm going to save, and this will update my current project to session 1. And if I go to that path, you'll see that Amber automatically will create my session 1 project. So I'm going to open it up, and it'll show me the MATLAB that I'll be using, and all my libraries. So Autonomy Common, Autonomy Energy Processes, and my session 1. So you can modify this through the GUI, or you can modify the A project file. I'm going to close this up again, but you will have the same folders: processes, results, run, systems. And this is automatically done by Amber. So you can open the files, and for example, I want to go back to my default project, so I'll just open it, click open, and it'll switch my current project again. You can create a new one, or you can edit. So you can edit any, for example, I want to make a change onto my session 1 project folder, so I can make the changes I don't want to save any changes, but I'm gonna go back to my session one. So you have to select your A project um, file in this case. So I'll open it. Um, there's also this launch MATLAB, which will open up a new window where you have access to MATLAB, or like at least a command window of MATLAB. This is useful. I'll use it more once we start running the simulations, or I'll use it now that we're going to be importing cycles. Before we move on, I want to go to the right here in this help button, which will open another PDF file. And in here, it'll go in great detail on how to use the different workflows. So this is a great resource to have as well. You can look up like how to run a vehicle, how to edit a vehicle, and I'll give you all the step-by-steps on how to do it.